just like, I just feel like they don't really understand how hard the sport of swimming is and how hard it is to be that good.
It's funny you say that. And I hear this on the constant. I listen to a lot of sports radio. I watch a lot of sports, and like, oh, he's just a swimmer. Oh, he just competes every 4 years, and it's this total lack of knowledge of what you're talking about. Yes, it is not a major sport. I've been in this industry for 20 years, and I will gladly and fully admit that. But when it comes to the actual physicality of every sport, but specifically swimming, it's very hard. And you can't traditionally breathe like you do when you run.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of muscles that it takes to execute these strokes and to do this type of training is very difficult. It's not that it's not for everyone, it's just difficult. And I do think there is a lack of respect. And I'm sure we could encase a lot of other sports in this.
Of course.
A world class dart thrower, like it could be legendary, and I think we just kind of minimize that because at least here in America, we prioritize 4 or 5 sports.
Yeah. Yeah. Really, it's just like, if you're not in the big four,
Right.
hockey, basketball, football, or baseball, and then there's some other like secondary ones like golf, tennis, soccer that are kind of like, if you're really good, then you get some respect for that.
Right. Right.
But anything basically below those, you're basically getting it. Like sometimes NASCAR people get a little bit of respect, but not really. And then you get to the stuff like you just said, the people who do things like swimming or something like that just like don't get the same amount of respect. And it's like, I get it to an extent. I get it's a different type of
Sure.
sport. It's
Sure.
not the type of sport that people think about when they think, oh yeah, we're going to watch people competing and stuff like that.
Before I even got into the sport, I probably would have been that type of person. For me, growing up, it was football and baseball. Those were my sports to play and to be a part of. And I'll tell you, my eyes opened, when I got into that sport and how competitive it was, how exhilarating the adrenaline just alone. You're definitely relying on yourself as an individual athlete, but when you're part of a team, especially in sports like collegiate swimming and club swimming, you're depending on others within, and it's cool. And kind of circle back on the Michael Phelps thing. Let's not forget Katie Ledecky, who now has surpassed
Yeah.
Michael Phelps as probably one of the greatest swimmers of all time.
Honestly, I wanted to bring her up. I'm so
Yeah.
happy that you did without that,
Yep.
because a lot of people, like, the analogy that I'll use is Katie Ledecky to Michael Phelps is kind of like like a lot of people want to use the conversation that like Patrick Mahomes is now like he's going to catch Tom Brady. And listen, I think I will say this, and we're from the New England area, we're both Patriots fans. It's kind of like the idea that anybody could catch Tom Brady after everything he did is kind of like disrespectful. But after he won that Super Bowl this past year, I'm like, Patrick Mahomes has the ability to do it. I don't think he will, because I don't think that, like with Andy Reid's not going to be coaching for like 20 years like he had, and he's not going to have all, and it's going to fall apart. I don't think he's going to do it. But I get that idea that like he has the ability. Katie Ledecky, this is where Katie Ledecky was a couple of years ago, where like, oh, she has the ability to catch him. I'm telling you, if she has an amazing Olympics in 2024 and wins a bunch of medals, it's going to be the point where it's like, okay, now we really need to have a real conversation about like,
Right.
if they're, because I think if she has an amazing Olympics in 2024, it's really going to be like this is going to be like they're kind of at the same level almost.
In fact, she may go beyond him. She's now,
I think she can.
gotten more medals at meets than he has.
Yes.
And I think you'll talk about her greatness or her being the GOAT of the sport of swimming.
And I am totally supportive of that. And honestly, Michael Phelps is probably going to be one of the first people to say that's awesome.
Definitely, and that's why he's such a great ambassador to the sport.